Welcome to the crucible, where true power is forged. This isn't just a pep talk. It's an initiation for those ready to transcend their limits. We will not only ignite your spirit, but fortify your resolve and sharpen your mind. Life's greatest gifts often begin as its fiercest trials. Everything you aspire to will first attempt to shatter you before it allows you to rise. The reason many remain tethered to the ordinary is simple: they surrendered during the demolition. They mistook the necessary breakdown for failure, bad luck, or the world's malice. But it was never that. It was the cost. The formidable price of ascending to a level few will ever comprehend. Let me deliver a stark truth. Most individuals will never become truly unstoppable, not due to inherent weakness, poverty, or unfairness, but because they relentlessly pursue a comfortable version of themselves, rather than painstakingly crafting a version that triumphs in silence. They crave respect without enduring rejection, love without experiencing solitude, success without sacrifice, power without pain. This perpetual pursuit of ease is their anchor, holding them captive. You claim you're waiting for the opportune moment, that motivation eludes you, that life's current demands are too overwhelming. Hear this: unstoppable individuals are indifferent to their feelings. They do not seek permission from their mood. They do not defer to some distant someday. They press onward through pain, through fear, through rejection, through the gnawing void of boredom. Why do most falter on the path to invincibility? The core reason is their idolatry of comfort. They would rather passively scroll for hours than intensely work for minutes. They yearn for peace, but refuse to confront the chaos within their own minds. They desire rest, yet have barely begun their journey. They are addicts of motivation, not movement. They consume inspiring content, reveling in the fire, the rhythm, the pronouncements, the quotes. But the instant the screen darkens, so does their drive. Unstoppable people do not chase fleeting hype. They embody unwavering consistency. They cease the self-deception. No more claiming, "I'm doing my best," when deep down they know it's a lie. No more, "I'll do it tomorrow," after years of empty promises. No more, "I'm trying," when no tangible change manifests. They shed the fear of solitude, the need for external cheerleaders or a guiding hand. The ascent to greatness is a solitary pilgrimage, and they embrace its daunting isolation. They possess not just standards, but ironclad habits. Those destructive habits: late sleep, poor nutrition, negative thought loops, blame, shifting, are their undoing, leaving them perpetually weak. To become unstoppable, you must sever ties with pleasure seeking. Cease requiring validation. Stop fleeing from pain and instead charge through it. Here's the unspoken truth: the most unstoppable forces on this planet are not loud, not inherently special, not blessed by luck. They are simply the ones who refused to cease when everyone else did. They were exhausted, yet they appeared. They were heartbroken, yet they advanced. They were doubted, yet they offered no explanations. They were terrified, yet they stood their ground. Now they appear as titans. But once they were just like you. The true question isn't how to become unstoppable. It's whether you can finally silence the internal lies long enough to manifest the person you were destined to be. There is no hidden secret, no shortcut. There is only a decision. If you are ready, this revelation will dismantle everything that has held you captive. Now, declare it not to me, but to your own reflection. No more pretense. No more waiting. No more mediocrity. I am finished with the old. I am ready. I will become unstoppable. Here are 10 formidable rules to forge an unstoppable existence. No distractions, no excuses, just unadulterated fire. Let us commence. Rule 1. Stop demanding verification. Be dangerous in silence. The world has conditioned you to broadcast your aspirations before they are realized. To announce grand plans, to post your dreams, to document every step, every workout, every objective, every forced smile, every superficial working on myself update. Why? Because in this age, it is simpler to appear successful than to genuinely be successful. This is precisely why most people fail silently while performing loudly. But here is a truth the fake motivational gurus will never utter. The moment you prematurely expose your dreams, the world begins to pull you down. Allies you expected to cheer will fall silent. Friends you trusted will begin to mock you behind your back. Family members who smiled at your mediocrity will become uneasy as you ascend. Why? Because your evolution exposes their stagnation. Your ambition threatens their excuses. Your transformation reminds them of their own inertia. And so they will assault you with judgment, with deceptive advice, with guilt, and with silence. This is why unstoppable individuals do not chase validation. They do not demand applause from the world. They vanish. They become invisible. For they grasp one fundamental principle: power flourishes in silence. The seed becomes a tree beneath the soil. The champion owns their craft in the shadows. The apex predator sharpens its instincts far from the noise. Consider Michael Jordan, the undisputed greatest basketball player. Cut from his high school team, people ridiculed him. Coaches questioned him. Even his teammates failed to perceive his nascent greatness. He did not post a vengeful quote. He did not declare retribution. He did not complain. He simply returned home and trained in silence, relentlessly, every single day. While others slept, partied, or chattered, he built. Years later, when the world finally witnessed his metamorphosis, it was too late to impede him. This is the transformation I demand of you. Become a silent killer. Someone so intensely focused, so relentlessly consistent, so utterly obsessed that by the time they even notice you, you have already secured victory. Yet, most fall short because they are addicted to being seen. They crave likes, comments, viral fame. But they fail to comprehend that authentic success is allergic to noise. The more you speak, the more you reveal your vulnerabilities. The more you flaunt, the more pressure you place on an identity you have not yet earned. You do not require applause. You do not require followers. You do not need to inform anyone. You require only one thing: unyielding commitment to show up every single day without a camera, without a cheerleader, without a trophy. Just you in the quiet solitude doing the work. And when the world finally sees you, it will be too late. You will already be unstoppable. So the rule is stark: cease seeking validation and commence building in silence. This is how legends are forged. Rule 2. Train your mind like a warrior, not a victim. Most traverse life with a fractured psyche, not because they were born weak, but because they were never instructed in the art of warrior thinking. They were taught to feel, not to fight, to evade pain, to sidestep discomfort, to flee from fear, to lament when adversity strikes, to blame others when life grows arduous. This is why the majority will never ascend. You may possess a formidable physique, abundant wealth, prodigious talent, but if your mind is soft, you will shatter. You will shatter the moment life's hammer falls. You will shatter the instant you hear no. You will shatter when your meticulously laid plans unravel. You will weep, panic, freeze, and wait for salvation. That is not unstoppable. That is powerlessness. Listen intently. To become truly unstoppable, you must transmute your mind into a weapon, a machine of steel, a battlefield so acutely honed and trained that no pain, no failure, no rejection, no loneliness, no insult, no heartbreak can impede your advance. How do you train it? As a soldier trains for war. A soldier does not prepare when the bullets begin to fly. He is already prepared, for he has practiced the pain before its arrival. He has forged mental muscle before fear took hold. And this is precisely what you must do every single day. Allow me a brutal illustration. David Goggins, once a 300-pound exterminator, indolent, insecure, broken, transformed into one of the most resilient humans alive. Not by passively consuming motivational content. He achieved it by embracing what most steadfastly refuse, running in sub-zero temperatures with fractured legs. Training through cardiac anomalies, pushing beyond limits that most would not survive. Why? Because he understood that pain is the sole executioner of weakness. And once weakness is slain, nothing can stop you, not even yourself. Yet, most individuals coddle their weaknesses. They infantilize their minds. They utter, "I'm just not feeling it today. I don't want to burn out." Mental health is important. Yes, but comfort is not mental health. Avoidance is not healing. And succumbing to every soft thought is not self-care. It is self-destruction. You must suffer to attain strength. You must wage war against your own mind to conquer the world. You must rise early when every fiber of your being craves sleep. You must push for one more rep when every instinct screams surrender. You must refuse fleeting pleasure when it whispers its siren song. Each instance you do so, your mind becomes sharper, stronger, more lethal. And with time, your gait transforms, your thoughts shift, your speech carries calm authority, your movements possess purpose, your breath resonates with power. For your mind has been trained not to hope, not to wish, but to execute. This is not motivation. This is warfare. And if your mind remains soft, you will be defeated before you even draw a weapon. Make the decision now. You will no longer be a casualty of your thoughts. You will no longer permit fear to hijack your future. You will no longer harbor weakness in your own mind. You will train relentlessly every single day until your thoughts bend to your will. For when your mind becomes your weapon, nothing in this world can stop you. Not failure, not fear, not even death. Rule 3: discipline is greater than motivation. Let us obliterate the pervasive lie now. You have been indoctrinated your entire life that motivation will be your savior. That sustained inspiration and positivity will magically resolve all. But I ask you, where is that motivation now? Where is the fervor you felt on New Year's Day? Where is the spark ignited by that powerful video last month? Because motivation is a phantom. It dissipates the moment reality delivers a crushing blow. This is why most remain mired in mediocrity. They construct their entire existence around the ephemeral sensation of inspiration, when they should have erected it upon the bedrock of discipline. Discipline means executing what must be done, especially when the desire is absent. Discipline does not inquire about your feelings. Discipline does not consult the clock. Discipline is indifferent to rain, fatigue, or the revelry of friends. Discipline simply moves because it has a mission. Unstoppable individuals do not rely on ephemeral hype. They rely on unbreakable systems. They do not await readiness. They simply commence, and then they do not cease. Consider this stark example: two individuals, both aspiring to author a book. One awaits inspiration. They meticulously arrange candles, open windows, play soothing music, writing only when the vibe is perfect. The other sits down at 5 a.m. daily. No music, no comfort, no mystical muse, just words every single day. Who completes the book? That is discipline. And that is the engine of your unstoppable force. Discipline is appearing even when exhaustion grips you, working when all others rest, pushing through the pain, continuing when no one observes, denying distractions even when they beckon sweetly. Do you comprehend the profound implication? Discipline is not a mood. It is not a surge of energy. It is not something to be awaited. It is a decision, a brutal, solitary, potent decision that you reiterate daily until you embody an entity no one can halt. Motivation will offer an hour of fleeting euphoria. Discipline will construct a life from which you will never need to escape. So, now confront yourself with brutal honesty. How many dreams have you deferred, awaiting the feeling? How many times have you declared, "Not today," promising yourself a tomorrow that never arrives? And what if tomorrow never dawns? For here is the truth: you do not need more motivation. You need more discipline. You must become the kind of person who shows up, come what may. That is the cost of being unstoppable. You can either pay with pain now or with eternal regret. Rule 4: fall in love with repetition. This rule will cleave you from 99% of humanity. Do you understand why people fail? It is not a dearth of talent. It is not a lack of opportunity. It is boredom. They initiate a venture, witness no immediate results within a week, and abandon it. Then they embark on another, find no magic in a week, and quit again. They are slaves to novelty, yet abhor repetition. And this precisely is why they will never triumph. Unstoppable individuals. They are enamored with performing the identical action repeatedly, ad nauseum. While others decry the monotony of routine, they erect empires within its structure. Let me offer an unseen example. Kobe Bryant, one of history's greatest basketball players, would arrive at 400 a.m. and execute the same shot hundreds of times in solitude. No cameras, no spectators, no coach cajoling him. Just him, the ball, the hoop, and the identical motion reiterated 1,000 times. Why? Because mastery resides in repetition. Excellence is birthed through boredom. And greatness is the cumulative outcome of performing myriad small acts with unwavering precision thousands of times over. Reflect on this. You desire fluent English, repetition, physical fitness, repetition, growth on a platform, repetitionists, repetition. But most protest, I tried that. It didn't work. No, you did not persist long enough. You did not execute it sufficient times. You capitulated before the results manifested. You failed to embrace the tedious part. And that, precisely, is where greatness lies concealed. Let me state it unequivocally: winners perform the same fundamental, mundane, arduous tasks for years until everyone else surrenders. Then they emerge and people label them gifted. But the truth is, they were merely obsessed with repetition. Your life will never transform until your habits transform. And your habits will never solidify until you learn to embrace the boring, the painful, the unseen, the unrewarded repetition that garners no applause. Most covet the results, but the unstoppable ones, they fall in love with the reps. They lift the same weights, consume the same nourishment, execute the same tasks, reject the same distractions, write, record, build, fix, fight, repeat. And what happens? That repetition transmutes into rhythm. That rhythm solidifies into identity. And that identity becomes power. So, if you aspire to be unstoppable, cease chasing fleeting excitement. Start pursuing relentless repetition. Because repetition renders it automatic, and automatic becomes unstoppable. The individuals who reshape the world do not perform novel actions daily. They perform the same actions with consuming obsession, unwavering focus, and unquenchable fire until nothing and no one can impede them. Rule 5. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Execute without mercy. Here is the unvarnished truth. You are not inherently lazy. You are not fundamentally lost. You are not irrevocably broken. You are simply engaged in a ceaseless negotiation with the most fragile aspect of yourself. And every day you permit it to prevail. Your alarm sounds. The formidable version of you commands, arise. The frail version whispers, just 10 more minutes, and you yield. You declare, today I will work. I will conquer this. But the weak part of you murmurs, let's defer it until tomorrow. We are weary. And you yield. This time, I will irrevocably transform my life. But when the task becomes monotonous, when progress is glacial, when no one acknowledges your effort, that insidious voice resurfaces, questioning, what is the purpose? And you yield. This is the genesis of your stagnation. Not a deficit of intellect, not a lack of capability, but years spent bartering with weakness. You granted it a seat at your table. You allowed it to speak each dawn. You permitted it to articulate why no is not the time. You allowed it to convince you of your fatigue, that you have already expended sufficient effort. That life is inherently difficult. But you overlooked a crucial truth. Weakness does not require a dialogue. It demands execution. Swift, brutal, merciless execution. Unstoppable individuals do not negotiate with their comfort zones. They annihilate them. They enter them. They silence the voice that urges, take it easy, and they supplant it with the resolute declaration, we are doing this. Regardless of how we feel, regardless of the duration, regardless of who observes, we are doing this. Allow me a potent illustration. There is a profound reason why Navy SEALs are among the most revered, feared, and unbreakable humans on Earth. Not because they possess superior physical strength to the average person, but because they maintain zero tolerance for negotiating with weakness. During Hell Week, one of the most savage training regimens globally, candidates are subjected to sleep deprivation, immersion in frigid water, ceaseless verbal assault, and profound physical and mental torment. Most ring the bell, most capitulate. But those who persevere, they extinguish the internal voice that screams, quit. They do not dispute it. They do not console it. They crush it. And that precisely is what renders them unstoppable. Now, I ask you, how many times daily do you negotiate with your weakness? How often do you forego the workout because of fatigue? Postpone your aspirations because life feels too demanding. Procrastinate because tomorrow seems more convenient. What has weakness ever bestowed upon you, save for pain, regret, anxiety, guilt, and failure? It is time to terminate the agreement. You owe your weakness no respect. You owe it no comfort. You owe it one thing: execution. When your alarm blares, rise. When your schedule dictates work, work. When the plan becomes arduous, complete it regardless. Because each time you do, you are forging a mind that no longer negotiates. You are becoming the kind of person who requires no pep talk. You are becoming the kind of person who completes the mission. Even if rain lashes down, even if you stand alone, even if it causes agony. And that is the essence of unstoppable. No deals, no discussions, no softness, just execution at all costs. Rule 6. Learn to suffer in private and never complain in public. This truth will sting, but it is the rule that will distinguish you from 99% of the world. We inhabit an era that encourages constant self-disclosure, to publicize every struggle, to parade vulnerability online, to vent, to broadcast pain. And yes, you should never suppress genuine trauma. But here is the brutal reality: most people do not seek healing. They seek attention. They post their pain not for growth, but to elicit pity. They articulate their problems not to resolve them, but to be perceived as victims. And that is why they remain trapped. Because each time life presents hardship, they gravitate towards sympathy instead of strength. Every challenge morphs into a narrative. Every failure becomes a caption. Every heartbreak transforms into a public performance. But listen meticulously. Unstoppable individuals suffer in silence. They bleed behind locked doors. They weep in solitude and resume training immediately thereafter. They do not demand the world bear their pain because they have mastered the art of carrying it themselves. When they fall, they do not post about it. They rise quietly, powerfully, privately. Do you know why? Because strength is not loud. Because warriors do not complain, they conquer. Because your struggle is not for the internet. It is for your own growth, your own evolution, your own profound transformation. Allow me a powerful example. Tom Hardy, the actor renowned for his ferocious roles in films like Warrior, The Dark Knight Rises, Mad Max, once grappled with addiction, violence, incarceration, and deep-seated insecurity. He did not metamorphose into a motivational speaker. He did not launch a podcast. He did not post melancholic reels lamenting life's unfairness. He waged war against himself alone. He rebuilt his mind. He conditioned his body. He battled his addictions. Not before an audience, but in the shadows. Yet when he reemerged, the world barely recognized him, for the former self had perished. And the new him, unstoppable. Now reflect. How often do you instinctively reach for your phone instead of your discipline? How often do you publicize your struggle, yearning for likes and comments, instead of engaging in direct combat with the problem itself? How often do you solicit pity when deep down you know you simply need to become stronger? This is your summons to transcend. You do not need to vocalize your suffering. You do not need the world to comprehend your pain. What you need is silence, structure, and self-respect. Go suffer, go fail, go cry. But do so with your mouth sealed and your fists clenched. Because when you master the art of suffering in private and rising without external validation, you become untouchable. Pain transmutes into power. Tears become training. Darkness becomes discipline. And that is the caliber of human the world cannot break. So cease complaining, cease performing, cease awaiting pity. You do not require it. What you require is a mirror and a solemn vow, no matter what transpires, I will never complain again. I will embrace the pain. I will leverage the pain. And I will construct a life that transforms suffering into an inferno. Because that is the creed of the unstoppable. And now it is your turn. Rule 7, shut up and grind. Let us establish this unequivocally. You will never become unstoppable through mere discourse. You will never become powerful by drafting plans. You will never transform your life by simply contemplating it. The world does not reward intentions. The world rewards execution, and most individuals, they do not desire to grind. They desire to appear as though they are grinding. They wish to don athletic attire without training. They wish to post inspirational quotes without embodying them. They wish to declare, I'm working on it, without actually expending effort. But unstoppable individuals, they require no announcement. They require no permission. They require no applause. They close the door, silence the cacophony, and grind silently, obsessively, without sentiment, without lament, without respite. Do you know why? Because the grind is not a fleeting mood. It is an immutable way of life. The grind signifies working when it is tedious, appearing when no one observes, executing the task when you are exhausted, broken, and assailed by doubt. It signifies performing the same fundamental tasks repeatedly until they become lethally proficient. But here is the truth that will sear most people fail because they equate talking with doing. They say, I'm planning to commence. I'm preparing. I'm researching. I'm formulating the strategy. Allow me to impart a crucial insight. A person with limited skills but relentless action will invariably surpass the intelligent individual who merely speaks. Because the grind is not about perfection. It is about volume. It is about accumulating the reps. It is about becoming bloody, sweaty, and bruised. While others craft presentations and manifest desires, consider Conor McGregor. Adore him or despise him, the man emerged from absolute obscurity, toiling as a plumber. No connections, no handouts, no comfort. But what did he do? He silenced his mouth. And he trained relentlessly, day after day, in silence, in darkness, in the face of failure. He was not speaking, he was grinding, and when he stepped into the cage, the world was stunned. Because by the time they heard his roar, he had already forged himself into a machine. That is the essence. You do not need to speak. You do not need to post. You need to grind so ferociously, so consistently, so dangerously that your results become too deafening to ignore. Now, I inquire, how much time have you squandered discussing your aspirations instead of pursuing them? How many hours have you spent observing others build while you scroll and utter? One day. How many times have you claimed a need for a break when, in truth, you have barely begun? This is the juncture. This is the moment where you cease lying, cease planning, cease hoping, and commence grinding. No more updates, no more emotional fluctuations, no more awaiting motivation. Arise, retreat into darkness, embrace silence, and grind as if your future hangs in the balance, because it does. Rule 8. Destroy your excuses before they destroy you. Let us speak plainly. You do not require more time. You do not require more capital. You do not require superior circumstances. You do not require external support. You require the annihilation of your excuses. For at this very moment, they are the sole barrier between you and the life you were destined to live. Excuses are falsehoods, artfully constructed lies that sound entirely logical when fear, indolence, insecurity, or unpreparedness grip you. They manifest as, I lack the proper equipment. Now is not the opportune moment. I have too many obligations. No one is endorsing me. I'm not yet ready. But every single excuse serves one purpose: to safeguard your comfort zone. And the longer you nourish them, the more debilitated you become. Excuses are not merely irritating. They are perilous, for they present themselves as harmless. They feel secure. They delude you into believing it is permissible to postpone greatness. But here is the critical realization. Excuses do not shield you from failure. They guarantee it. Each time you fabricate an excuse, you are erecting a wall around your inherent potential. And one day, that wall will solidify into a cage, a mental prison from which escape is impossible. You awaken, perpetually lagging. You observe others triumph while you attribute it to luck. You weep, and deep within, you comprehend that you failed to appear when it truly mattered. That is the insidious work of excuses. They plunder your potential silently. They murder your future without a sound. Who, then, makes no excuses? Single mothers juggling 2 jobs while simultaneously nurturing a fledgling business. Refugees mastering a new language from scratch and forging a new existence. Athletes training through injuries, enduring pain, and lacking external support. Why? Because when your main desire is sufficiently fervent, you cease seeking reasons to halt. You seek pathways to commence. Excuses are for the mediocre. Excuses are for the vanquished. Excuses are for people who prioritize sympathy over tangible results. But you are absorbing these words because you crave something far greater. Therefore, this is your imperative: kill your excuses. Excise them at their root. Document them, then incinerate the paper, for they are not your identity. They are your adversary. And every second you grant them credence, They are pilfering your destiny. You aspire to be unstoppable. Then accept this truth. No one cares about your excuses. The world is indifferent to why you did not win. It only registers whether you succeeded or failed. You either constructed something or you constructed an excuse. It is that stark. So, the next time you feel compelled to declare, "I'm tired," utter this instead, "Then I will work tired." When you feel like stating, "I'm not ready," declare, "Then I will commence before I am ready." Because every excuse you vanquish becomes a fragment of power. And the more you obliterate them, the more unstoppable you become. Rule 9. Believe you can, even when no one else does. This rule will dictate the entirety of your future. It is the rule most people never adhere to, for it is the loneliest. To believe in yourself before the world grants its affirmation is an agonizing journey. You traverse life cradling dreams no one comprehends. You carry concepts people deride. You rise early, toil late, maintain consistency, and receive no commendation. They perceive you as squandering your time. They deem you irrational. They anticipate your failure. And perhaps you even begin to internalize their doubts. But here is the profound truth you must grasp. Every unstoppable individual, every icon, every legend, master, king, and queen was once merely a person possessed by a vision that remained invisible to all others. They lacked empirical proof. They lacked tangible results. They lacked validation. All they possessed was belief. Raw, solitary, unshakable, even seemingly delusional belief. What is belief? Belief is building in the absence of any existing structure. Belief is stepping into the profound darkness with no illumination and proclaiming, "I know something profound exists here." Belief is standing resolute when the world conspires to diminish you. Allow me a tangible example. Walt Disney was informed, not once, not twice, but over 300 times that his vision of Disneyland was an impossibility. He faced rejection from investors. He was dismissed as childish. He was labeled unrealistic. He possessed no evidence it would succeed. He had no guarantees. Yet, he believed. And that belief, not luck, not money, not timing, constructed a dream that today bestows joy upon millions. Now, I ask you, when was the last time you championed yourself when all others withheld their faith? When was the last time you stood amidst a chorus of doubt and chose to back your own conviction regardless? Or have you been waiting for support, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for auspicious signs? But what if no one ever supports you? What if no one ever applauds? What if no one ever affirms your progress? Will you still persist? Because that is the true test. Not how intensely you can toil when all eyes are upon you, but how long you can endure when no one is watching. Unstoppable individuals. They navigate through the silence. They crawl through the doubt. They bleed through the loneliness. And they whisper to themselves, "I am indifferent to who believes in me. I believe in me." That is sufficient. This rule fundamentally alters your life because it restores power to your own hands. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be approved. You are not here to impress. You are here to become. And becoming commences the instant you declare, "Even if no one journeys with me, I am going. Even if I am the sole believer, I will build." So, at this very moment, articulate it aloud, not for anyone else's hearing, but solely for yourself. I believe in me, even if no one else does. I believe in me because I am not yet finished. Rule 10: never quit, no matter what. This is the ultimate rule, the final breath, the deepest cut, the absolute truth. You aspire to be unstoppable. Then sear this into the very core of your being: never, ever quit. Regardless of the duration, regardless of the agony, regardless of the solitude of the path, regardless of the multitude of failures, regardless of how utterly hopeless it feels, never quit. Because that is the solitary distinction between those who achieve and those who vanish. It is not talent. It is not education. It is not financial endowment. It is not timing. It is this: they stayed, they endured, they persisted. When others succumbed to tears and retreated, they crawled forward. When others collapsed and walked away, they screamed, bled, fought, and remained. They were not the swiftest. They were not the most brilliant. But they were the last ones standing. Let me impart a truth that will burn within you. Most individuals quit precisely before their breakthrough. They abandon the grind in month 6, oblivious that success awaited in month 7. They surrender after 100 videos, unaware that video 101 was destined to explode. They cease after 5 failed entrepreneurial ventures, failing to realize the 6th would redefine their existence. And then they spend the remainder of their lives lamenting, "I almost made it," but almost is the desolate graveyard of dreams. You do not desire that life. You do not wish to be 60 years old, steeped in silent regret, recalling the day you capitulated. You do not wish to deceive your progeny, claiming, "I could have been great." You desire to proclaim, "I bled for it. I fought for it. I stayed. And because I never quit, I became unstoppable." Desire another real-world illustration. Colonel Sanders, the visionary behind KFC, faced rejection 1,009 times when attempting to sell his chicken recipe. He was 65 years old. He possessed no wealth. He had no support. But he possessed something most people do not. He never quit. And because of that unwavering resolve, today, over 24,000 KFC establishments exist globally. You may be destitute, you may be exhausted, you may be overlooked. But if you never quit, it is merely a matter of time before the world is compelled to acknowledge you. Because pain passes, fear passes, doubt passes, but quitting, that indelible stain remains with you forever. So from this day forward, no matter what confronts you, failure, heartbreak, hunger, lack of support, detractors, loss, loneliness, you will meet it with an unyielding gaze and declare, "I will not quit. I may weep, I may fall, I may crawl, but I will never quit." Because that is the singular path to becoming unstoppable. And now it is your turn. You have absorbed the rules. You have felt the inferno. You have confronted the truth. Now, internalize this and never forget it. No one is coming to rescue you. No one will hand you the life you envision. No one will knock upon your door and present you with success, happiness, or peace. You must seize it. You must fight for it. You must bleed for it. And you must do it alone. Not because the world is inherently cruel, but because the world bestows respect solely upon those who earn it. So, from this moment onward, no more, "I'm tired." No more, "I can't." No more, "maybe tomorrow." No more waiting. No more fear. No more excuses. You will rise with fire blazing in your chest and silence echoing in your soul. You will rise when it hurts. You will rise when you are doubted. You will rise even if your hands tremble, your knees weaken, and your heart is shattered. Because that is the profound meaning of unstoppable. It means you become the storm. You become the beast. You become the entity that life cannot break, no matter how ferociously it attempts. So go. Go build the life no one believes you capable of. Go create the version of yourself they declared impossible. Go make your future self-proud. Because the undeniable truth is, if you do not fight for your dream, no one will. If you do not believe in yourself, no one will. And if you do not act now, you may never act at all. Declare it now aloud. Whisper it. Shout it, cry it. I am not finished. I am not done. I am not weak. I am not average. I am not stopping. I am not giving up. I am not backing down. I am unstoppable. And from this moment forward, you will live like it. Subscribe now if you are ready to level up and never look back.